Batman issue 75, which is oversized, because every 25 issues do one of these bigger issues. To start a City of Bane, it's Tom King writing, of course, with Tony S. Daniel and Mitch Gerrards on the art. But yeah, so we're thrown into the city, a bit ahead. Some stuff's happened.
Later, as the first page tells us.
As the first page does, yes. I was trying to paraphrase, not so as not to just read off the page.
I wanted to point out how unspecific it was.
Sure. Well, I think that's by design.
Yeah. No, that wasn't a complaint. I just wanted to point out.
Yeah, so we're thrown into a version of Gotham City where Riddler and Joker are partners. They're cops and they're partners. They're still dressed like them, but they're investigating murders. And Hugo Strange is the commissioner. He's the one that goes up on the roof and the bat cell gets turned on, but it's Flashpoint Batman who shows up after criminals. And so we get that plot playing out as we get a plot with someone who, I mean, it's pretty obvious it's Bruce Wayne, let's be honest, but you don't really necessarily get an obvious answer that early on. Walking through the snowy mountains of wherever he is, towards something, and that's interspersed throughout the book. Also, again, going back to some of these characters being certain characters, the ventriloquist is the Alfred in this scenario.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of his, mental disorder. It sounds like Scarface is like, you could be so much more. Why are you doing this? I like that part.
Yeah. Two-Face still seems to be Two-Face though, and that's kind of part of the function of the story, is that by the end of the story, Two-Face is going to become not Two-Face, much like all the, because obviously I think at the start of the book you're like, well, what's going on here? Are we in some sort of alternate world? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? The story reveals that Bane's taking control of Gotham, and Psycho Pirate is basically reconditioning all the villains to play out these roles. So this has actually happened. Gotham's actually in this situation right now, which does beg the question: where's the real Gordon? Where's so on and so on.
It is almost as if Gotham needed Batman, or else this is what would have happened. That said, it's definitely made Bane all powerful, and I don't know if I like that, because
he is silly powerful. Because at one point at the end, probably the only half decent of these Lex Luthor's offer things that show up, because he actually has a conversation that reveals some motivation here. Because he's like, hey, if you're this good, why haven't you just taken over the entire country or even the planet?
Right.
And he's like, I could do that, but this was about Gotham, because this is the one thing that Batman couldn't do, is he couldn't gain control of the city completely.
Right. Which one would argue, though, that Batman's not about the total control of Gotham. It's about, again, he's about not having what happened to him happen to others.
Yeah, it's about keeping balance and giving other people a chance to improve it themselves. It's not about him improving everything on his own.
Exactly, and so that shows, and I like that it shows Bane's motivation and how he completely misunderstands Bruce's mission. That said, the stuff that led up to, you're in for it, right, as soon as the Jared's art hits, and that's, I feel, where the uptick happened. But everything outside of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine references, everything that led up to this, I'm just like, what is going on, and not in a good way? I'm a little weary of King's storytelling style.
Yeah, this took me 4 attempts to get through. Now, admittedly, it's a bit longer, so to bear in mind, but I basically only finished this because I only had 3 books.
Yeah.
4 books.
And I stand by what I said in the group. I said this was weird. Just, again, where we left off, right? The last issue, we don't know who's climbing up that rope, And then we just jump into this and it says later. And not that I need it to be completely, to see this issue who's climbing out or whatever. We can make inferences.
It's such an insane premise as to where we're left, right? At the start of this, as this is just happening now.
Yeah, actually, given where this goes, I guess it implies that it wasn't Bruce that climbed out the cave. The pit.
But he must have, because we see him in the snow.
Well, obviously he did eventually, but I have to imagine, given what's happening in Gotham, it makes more sense if Thomas Wayne's the one who came back first and
helped but also, Bane how does the Martha stuff factor into this? So he was just gonna have Martha come back for Bruce, and then Thomas was just gonna be Batman now. Like, I'm still not clear on that entire thread. And then here we have this whole war of jokes and riddles, right? Written by King, and we saw how Joker, how out of control he is, and how he doesn't play well with others. You know, yet somehow Bane's able to have Psycho Pirate completely get him to play ball.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I wouldn't call that out, because to me that's what Psycho Pirate does. Like that's got to do with what Bane's
I feel
able to
though
do.
with the way that he set up Joker, I don't buy the Psycho Pirate, thing with that. Like I see Riddler just playing along, right, and going with it, because that's what War Jokes and Riddles was about. He was the one that was all about control, and Joker was the one all about chaos. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, but they're being completely
off.
reconditioned though, so it's not like Riddler's not choosing to go along with it. Riddler's had no choice either. They're just
No, but I could see the reveal happening that Riddler went along with it, right? Like, he's fine with Bane doing whatever he's doing. I'm not sure I like Joker being reconditioned as easy, because again, it's Joker. Like, he's the wild card. So
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Joker's the first one to snap out of it because of that reason, because his mind works differently, because he picks up in things in a way that other people don't. We also have Gotham Girl shows up as like Flashpoint and Batman as Robin. Yeah, she's got like a purple and blue Robin outfit. The R's kind of in the Gotham Girl font.
I'm so glad we needed the Price crossover to remind us that Gotham Girl was a thing, because that completely changed how I read this, and I'm being completely sarcastic. I almost would have liked it more for her to show up as a surprise here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think you risk me going, "Who's this supposed to be?" because her hair's completely different, and
right.
I think the logo would actually have probably been enough.
Probably.
And they do say her name later,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I feel like here you either fully embrace just the insanity that it is, right? And I feel that that's originally how it was formatted. And then whatever has happened behind the scenes since, which led to us getting the Price, which led to his storyline getting cut off.
Because this is the last arc now. I believe it's 10 issues, and this is the last arc of this book, and then it's on to the new series.
Yes.
Yeah, because 85, right? And then 85, and then because we said the new series would put it at about 97. So,
plus a couple of annuals and whatever.
Right,
minus a couple of things he didn't write.
Right.
You had a couple of Monster Men issues, and then the Price, as Matt just reminded me what the name was.
Man, I do like once Jared takes over the art, I feel like it becomes a little more tolerable, because there's a point. There's Luther, coming to Bane and being like, "I'm impressed, and this is what I'm going for," and you pulled it off without my help. Like, I like that. Especially that image of Bullock just tied up at the police station. Like, that is harrowing.
It's kind of it's a weird issue. I think I liked it more when it got towards the end, and I got a good sense of what was happening to all the villains, and that this was Bane, like, getting all this acted out. Like, I think because it gave it more context. Because I think one of the things that a lot of King's weirder issues don't have when you first read them is any context. You have to read multiple issues, and even then you might not get context. I'm looking at you, Nightmares. Whereas this issue, I think by the end of the issue, you completely understand what's going on in the city, what Bane's achieved, and ultimately what Batman's going to have to come back and do. Why Catwoman's, because obviously the end of the book is the reveal that Catwoman, or that's not the exact end, but
it's the end of that story.
Yeah, it's revealed that Catwoman is like who he's looking for in the Alps or wherever he is.
I took it more that she found him.
Yeah, I did as well. I think he was off looking for something else.
Yep.
and she's following him.
Yeah, but isn't it the guys he finds? Don't they refer to her? Will she let him know, or will she like? They talk about someone being in charge. The guys that he
Let me go
finds,
back.
and then she shows up afterwards.
Well, no, because he says that you're going to tell her. He goes, dude, I tell Magpie everything. Good for my safety, you know? A few more weeks after she makes the sale, Bane's going to make her the richest woman in the world.
You're right. Okay, I forgot about the Magpie mention.
Yep.
You're right.
So I feel like she's found him here, up in wherever he's at, Himalayas, Alps, wherever. It's super snowy. So, shoot, he could be up in the Canadian Rockies for all I know.
Yeah. I don't think it actually says where he is, does it? It just...
No.
Lots of snowy mountains.
No, it never says.
Yeah. Alfred's adamant that, Bruce will return, kind of thing.
I will appreciate the long form storytelling here, because it's really taking all of King's stuff so far, and it seems like it's paying it off. Whether we like what that payoff is, at least it's going somewhere now.
Yeah. The Garrett stuff is gorgeous. Like, when he gets to Professor Pig as a patrolman, slicing people
no doubt
up.
about that. You've got the Fireflies as the fireman.
Yeah, you got Zash, you got Hush, you got all these different characters. Croc's there.
Hush, you got Dr. Phosphorus and the Mad Hatter driving around.
It's great. Garrett's colors are on another level, like the lighting, neon effects. Are just something else.
We've talked about that before. Where remember Witches? They did that weird color splatter
effect. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Garrett's does that with the light, but he pulls it off because, like, if you look at that Croc one, with the way the light's coming off of everything, like.
Yeah, I get that with the Fireflies as well.
Yeah.
No, those last 8-10 pages, whatever it is, are really beautiful. Not that Daniel's art's bad throughout the rest of it, because it's really solid.
No, it's fine, but I mean, you're talking about we're all very pro Garrett's here, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
no matter what I feel about King's storytelling, Garrett's has always pulled it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this issue is kind of a weird place for me, where I actually think the issue itself is fine. I think any reservations I have are more to do with just being deflated with the way King's been writing the story for the last while, as opposed to anything in this issue itself.
Yeah, it's more about the style than the content for me. Because the content's fine, it's just the way that he's gone about telling said story.
Because it's kind of exciting. The Batman's with Catwoman again. They're going to be sort of teaming up to, presumably come back and take down Bane.
To right Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing Joker and Riddler sitting at desks in the police station as if they're partners, and it's at this point where you can see they've just scored out names that were on the nameplates.
Yep.
And
Santiago and Peralta.
Yeah.
And
which Melissa Fumero tweeted at them and told her, "Oh my God, this is so cool."
Yeah, well, I know Garrett is a huge fan anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's neat. So I want to be more positive on this one, because I actually didn't dislike. I didn't dislike reading it. I actually, and the art especially towards the end was fantastic. The problems we have here is that there's so much fluff that we could have cut out in the last year of Batman comics, getting us to this point. But I'm not that down in this issue itself. I actually kind of like the setup for what it's doing. Now, does it have an interesting story to tell over 10 issues? I have no idea. Will it be spinning its wheels for half that time? It might. I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to read the next issue, honestly. I questioned whether I wanted to finish this issue, and I thought, well, there's only 3 books, I'll get through it. When it comes to the next issue and I've got more books, will I have the motivation to read it? I don't know. It'll be the last thing I read for sure, and if I've got time. I'm kind of just at the point now where I don't know if I want to read 10 issues of this, because I I didn't enjoy it as much as even you did, Pete. I don't think, like, you're saying, oh, you're fine with this premise. I don't know. It just seems a bit. To me, it felt like, oh, just for the sake of it. Like, it's kind of just, oh, well, he came up with, oh, what if all these people are like, okay, this is Gotham now, and then just went from there, and just wasn't that appealing to me. Almost anything in the issue, personally.
I mean, it's called City of Bane, so I mean, just starting where Bane's already taking control of the city, works well enough for me. I mean, King does like to kind of like skip over things a lot. This was not as egregious to me as some of his other issues, where I just feel like the interesting parts of the story are missing. Because we've seen him almost take over the city before. We know kind of how it plays out for the most part. I don't necessarily need to see the rise of Bane in this time.
I think it's just the idea of Joker and Riddler as cops and Hugo Strange as the commissioner. I just don't care about any of that. That's not appealing to me. I was just reading this and I just felt like, why? And I felt pretty jaded reading it.
But then I have other questions, like, why isn't Two-Face playing along? Like, is he?
It's not that he's not playing along, Matt. It's just that they've not gotten to him yet. That's what the end of his story is here.
I get that, but like, he's been a thorn in Bane's side, right? Like, why did he decide, like, oh no, this is not Bane City, So he decides to fight against him as he almost becomes a vigilante himself. I like that.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't agree with him, essentially. Huh? Yeah, still got.
Well, I also feel that appeals to his Harvey side versus his Two-Face side.
Yeah, he's got enough of his Harvey still in him too.
Yeah, so I like that type of stuff. So there's still enough in there. I mean, I'm already in for the long haul. I ain't going nowhere. So. Yeah,
I mean, we're at 75 out of 85.
And that's the only thing that's making me think, oh, well, maybe I should keep going. But then if I do that, I'm going to get to, Bat and Cat and go, well, I should probably read that as well. So that's like another year. And I'm like, do I want to?
Over a year, because...
Well, no, I mean, the Bat and Cat's another year.
Right.
So, I mean, it's almost a year and a half from now, give or take.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I mean, Bat and Cat could be his weirdest, most self-indulgent thing yet, because it's its own mini now. But it also could be a stroke of genius. It could be the Mr. Miracle of Batman. Like it could very well be that. Yeah. It's hard to tell at this point. I don't know. I'd say this issue is it's murky in some ways, but it's arguably the most interesting the book has been in a while, because it's clearly defined what the premise is. It said this is what this arc's going to be about. It's about Bane's taking over the city. He's like brainwashed all these villains to perform these roles, as an insult essentially to say, hey, I can control them and you can't. And presumably we'll have Batman and Catwoman storming back in and taking the city, maybe with other allies. Who knows? Like, has he taken out other allies? Is some of the Bat family, subdued somewhere because Bane's taken over? I guess we'll find out. It's the sort of thing we might get in the next issue. I don't know. But yeah, I'm very skeptical though. I'm very skeptical because we've been let down so much with this book in the last year.
Does it just have interest? Because obviously you at least enjoyed this issue only. Does 10 issues feel like a lot for this story? Like to me, that seems like more than I would have expected.
Well, that's what I said earlier. I said I have no idea if half of this is going to be wheel spinning.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
It depends. Like, is there a story in the city? Well, there's a story about Batman like training up to come back and take it. Is there's a dual stories going on? Like, is there is Babs running around Gotham trying to do something and hold out, waiting for Batman to come back, or something? I don't know. Whatever the story could be. Where's Commissioner Gordon? Hugo Strange is taking his job. Where is he? Because the only person we get to see whose job's been replaced essentially is Alfred. He's the only one that we get to see sort of what he's actually doing. But where is Alfred? Where's You know, well, we see Bullock, I suppose, briefly, but
yeah, Bullock's there,
um,
getting darts thrown at him.
but yeah, so I don't know, some questions. Yeah, I hope it's good. I hope there's, I hope it sticks a landing. It makes me go, oh hey, it kind of came back round at the end.
It's kind of sad if that's like the most positive, like if that's where you go, oh hey, yeah, I guess it was okay in the end.
Well, I still really like the first half of this run. Like, I was really into the first half of this run.
Well.
So
First like 40 issues or so, give or take, a couple here or there, are pretty great.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Matt, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it, and this is amazing based on the Garrett's part, but I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay, Connor.
It probably would have been a 3.5, but I'll give it a 4 for Garrett's art at the end.
I'm gonna give it a straight 7. Skeptical, not ready to jump for joy or anything like that, but there's certainly parts of this issue that I really like, especially the ending.